Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on this Bellator NYC conference call. On today's call, we have Bellator President Scott Coker, as well as event headliners Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva, welterweight world champion Douglas Lima, and challenger Lorenz Larkin. I will, at this point, I'll turn it over to Scott Coker for some opening announcements.
Great. Thank you, Danny. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Bellator NYC Sonnen versus Silva media conference call. Before we get started with the fighters today on the call, I'd like to make a very special announcement. I'm excited to announce that Bellator has signed veteran MMA announcers Mike Goldberg and Mauro Ranallo to join our broadcast team. They'll both debut there at Bellator NYC, Bellator 180, next week, June 24th at MSG. They'll join our current broadcast team, Jimmy Smith and Jen Brown, as well as Chael Sonnen when he's not competing. Also on the broadcast team, we have Brendan Schaub and Josh Thompson will also be part of the New York broadcast. I think the main thing for Bellator is we put together this all-star team of talent to be interchangeable as the Bellator schedule continues to grow, both domestically and internationally. And on with the fight card. I think everybody's seen that we're building towards this big, massive card next week in New York City at Madison Square Garden. This will be the biggest event in the history of Bellator. It'll be Bellator 180 on Spike TV, as well as the pay-per-view broadcast with the main event that's here today and one of the title fights that's on the call today. To me, this will be the best MMA pay-per-view card offered in 2017. Chael Sonnen fighting Wanderlei Silva, who are both here, and this is something we're really excited to promote. It's been a fight that's been over 4 years in the making, and I can't wait to see them score off in the cage next Saturday. Fedor Emelianenko will make his Bellator debut against Matt Mitrione. We got 3 big title fights that evening with current champion Douglas Lima, challenger Lorenz Larkin, both joining us today on the call. Also, Michael Chandler takes on Brett Primus at lightweight, and Phil Davis beats Ryan Bader at light heavyweight with Spike TV. And running out the main card, we've got Aaron Pico making his MMA debut as one of the most touted prospects of all time against Zach Freeman. The Bellator pay-per-view card, the pay-per-view portion will begin at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Bellator 180 will air on Spike Live on both coasts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And additional prelims will air on Bellator.com beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Jenny.
Great. Thanks, Scott. And for the media, if you have a question for Scott or any of the fighters on this call, please press *1 on your keypad now. Operator, we can start the Q&A session.
Our first question comes from the line of Bob Carson from Carson's Corner podcast. Your line is live.
Hi, thank you to everybody. My question is for Scott Coker. Scott, there's been some concern about whether or not some of these main event fights may fall through. Randy Couture posted on his Instagram account that he'd be happy to be an alternative for either one of the main event fights. Is there any concern on your part that any of these fights could fall through? And do you guys have contingency plans in case any fight falls through?
We always, like to have a contingency plan, which we do have for this event. But I feel really confident. I mean, we're only 10 days away. I think, what Randy's referring to is, in this sport, whether it's us or any other league, these injuries happen or, this happens. There's just things that happen. So, I can understand why Randy would say that. And, but, we feel really good about our 2 big fights coming up. And we feel that they're going to deliver in a big way next Saturday at Madison Square Garden.
And secondly, congratulations on the signing of Mike Goldberg and Mauro Ranallo. I mean, that's absolutely huge. Can you tell us how long or how often these 2 will be commentating for Bellator? And Scott?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you know what? Mauro and Goldie combined will be doing all of our fights in 2017, 2018, and hopefully beyond. But we're very excited. We think this is the best broadcast team in the business now, and we're packed and loaded, ready to go.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Mark Raimondi from MMAfighting.com. Your line is live.
Hey guys, just first for Scott, just wanted to also ask about Goldberg and Ronaldo being on board. I guess Sean Grande announced yesterday that he would no longer be on the team. How quickly did this all come together with Mike and Morrow, and was Sean in the loop at first, and then he could no longer kind of be on the team? How did that all work?
It was quite a long process in talking with Goldie and Morrow. We've been talking to him for a while too, and when it came down to it was, Sean approached us about our fall schedule coming up, and with basketball and the Celtics being a big part of his life and part of his business. He didn't feel he could do some of the stuff that that we wanted to do internationally, and so we started talking to other guys, and it just kind of worked out, and Sean's been great, but we think Morrow and Goldie will be great too. So I think like I said earlier, we've got a great 1-2 punch with our play-by-play guy now, and this all happened within the last couple of weeks.
So this adds kind of for Scott again. This kind of adds even more cachet to the big Bellator card at MSG. You put on a lot of big fights and big events in your day as a promoter. Where does this one rank? Is this at the top? Do you think?
Yeah, this is at the top. I mean, and I appreciate the kind words because I think we have done some great work, in the past, whether it was Strikeforce or with Bellator, but this one being at the Garden with this big fight card, being on pay-per-view, it just, the fighters involved, it's just an unbelievable matchups. I think that, we have something for everybody. We have, the young prospect coming up that everybody wants to take a look at, fighting, a guy that's got an 8-2 record. So he's not going to be some kind of gimme fight. I think it's going to be a tough fight for Aaron. And we got the Legends fights, we got the title fights. So as far as, being in the biggest, media center in the world, having the greatest fights in the world, and being on pay-per-view and on Spike TV, I think we're going to have a great event next Saturday night.
Just one last thing for you, Scott. The New York Commission said this week that there will be out-of-competition drug testing pre-fight for both Chael and Wanderlei. They also said that it'll be a third-party agency doing the testing, and that the fighters will be paying for that. Is that accurate to your knowledge?
Yes, and I believe it's already happened, but I think that's something you probably want to reach out to them and get more information. We just hate to put words in their mouths, but both fighters have been tested recently for out-of-competition testing.
And are those tests expected, the results expected back before the fight?
Yes, of course. Those test results will be back. I want to say any day now.
Okay, thanks, Scott. And then just one for Chael. Hey, Chael.
Hello.
There. Hey. Last week there was supposed to be a press conference in L.A. with you and Wanderlei. He was not able to get on the plane and come out to L.A. Was there some concern for you that it's 2 weeks before the fight and he wasn't able to come to the States for a promotional thing?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he's 0 for 2. There's only one trip left, which is the fight. I trust that he'll make it, but I can't deny that he didn't come. I was on my way to the airport. I had my bag packed. I was literally in the car and hit a U-turn. So, yeah, man, I think there's some obligation when you're on top of the bill, but it is a long trip. It is a long trip for a press conference to have to sit there and be treated like a fool. So I understood that part of it too.
Thank you, guys.
Next question comes from the line of Steve Jones, MMA Mania. Your line is live.
Thank you, operator. I'd like to start with Chael. After a multi-year build going all the way back to the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 3, how satisfying is it that this fight's finally taking place in a little under 2 weeks?
Man, it's the only fight I've wanted for the longest time, and it doesn't just go back those 4 years. That's when I finally had a signed contract to compete with Wanderlei, but I've been wanting to fight Wanderlei since he was in Pride. I've been wanting to fight Wanderlei before, while I was still fighting down at the dog park in front of my mom and dad and Aunt and Uncle, and nobody else was there. and I'm watching this guy on TV. I've just always wanted to fight Wanderlei Silva. I've been poking my finger in his chest before anybody else did. Wanderlei went through a very long period of his career where he was the scariest guy out there. Nobody ever called out Wanderlei. I was calling him out back then. I was calling him out back when it was unfashionable. So yeah, to finally get the match, man, it's the only match that I want. I love to participate in this sport, and I'll go out and compete with anybody. But they're not always one you want to. Sometimes they're just the match that you have in front of you. I want to fight Wanderlei.
Fair enough. And to Wanderlei on that same question, he said there's nobody he wants to fight more than you. So how are you feeling now that you finally get to fight him after all this time?
So I think I want to say thanks to Scott to make this fight happen, because after what this guy is doing for me here in Brazil, I wanted to beat him so bad. And I don't know why. No, he do a lot of bad things behind him over here in the program. And I can't give for him what he deserves. But, man, in 10 days, count 9, 8, Silva gonna catch you, motherfucker.
All right. Well, thank you both, gentlemen. I'll let the next caller get on.
Next question comes from the line of Steven Morocco, MMA Junkie. Your line is live.
Hey, Wanderlei. I just wanted to follow up on an earlier question. How is your health right now? It said we were told this past week that you didn't make because you weren't feeling good. How is your health right now, and do you think you're going to be fine by the time fight time arrives?
The truth. I don't go to the press conference because I don't want to do what Cyborg do with that girl can talk shit about her. No, when I saw Chael, man, I don't know what's going to happen. No, I'm professional, but this guy crossed the line with me and played with the wrong guy.
So it had nothing to do with your health?
No, a little bit. But, man, for me, when I saw Chael in the same room, it's better we have security because something's going to happen.
Okay. And then to follow up on something that Scott said earlier, have you been drug tested at this point, and did you pay for it, or are you going to pay for it?
You can repeat for me?
Yeah. Scott said that he believed you might have been drug tested. Both you and Chael might have been drug tested by the commission. I wanted to see if that was the case, if that was true.
100%.
So you've been drug tested?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you train in Brazil for this fight rather than the U.S.?
Because Brazil is my country. I love my country, and I'm back to living here because I have some problems with you guys, and after this, I'm back to my house.
Do you just generally feel more comfortable training in Brazil than at your gym in Las Vegas?
No, yeah, because I moved. I'm back to Brazil because here I have my family. I have a really good team over here, and here is better for me. Come.
Gotcha. How long did it take you to recover from the surgeries that you had after your accident?
I'm 200%. Supposed to I'm gonna fight in December, but December is too early. But right now, like I trained for this fight for 8 months, and I'm really, really ready to make a really good show for my fans.
And do you have any intention in fighting in Japan after this fight?
Now I make one fight. Then I have some guy to beat right now. After this guy, we're gonna check what's gonna happen.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question comes from the line of Dylan Valker, Liberty Multimedia. Your line is live.
All right, thank you. My first question is for Chael Sonnen. Now, you spoke to the competitive meritocracy aspect of this matchup, but as a guy who's a huge fan of pro wrestling psychology, from a narrative aspect, how important is getting some closure in this feud with Wanderlei?
Man, this whole card, as far as you're talking storylines, this whole card has them up and down. Aaron Pico's the hottest prospect, MMA has ever had. Ever. Everybody will tell you that. He is going to be the champion. He's going to be the face of this company. He's going to be the face of the industry. And I'm not sure he's going to win next Saturday. He got dealt from the bottom of the deck. He's taken on a guy with 10 fights in Zach Freeman. And the part of the story that hasn't been told, he's fighting Zach Freeman because Zach Freeman's the only guy willing to fight him. You've got the title fights. You got to understand, no promoter in the world would bring in the boys from Vegas and give them a chance against their champs right out of the gate. It doesn't get done that way. Nobody would have the balls to do it, or vice versa. Coker's not only doing it, he's doing it twice in the same night. Douglas Lima's taking on Larkin in Larkin's debut, and Bader's stepping in there with Phil Davis in his debut, and that's a rematch that Bader upset him the first time. So you get two of those, and then you get the best heavyweight of this time in Matt Mitchell, in my opinion, versus the best heavyweight of all time, in my opinion, in Fedor Emelianenko. It is such a crazy night of fights, and it's 2 for 1. If you buy a ticket to the show, you get two. You get Bellator 180, and then you get Bellator NYC. And that part, as far as storylines and telling all the stuff, man, there's not even enough time. There was so much drama and so much action on this card. I mean, we got all the way down to new announcers I didn't even know about it until 10 minutes ago. It makes it a hard spot for me to focus because I am such a fan, and I can't get around it. My career will end the same way as it started, which is as a fan. And when you got to be in the back and you still got to walk out and compete when you're trying to take in a whole night of great shows, man, there's some obstacles there.
And you were saying before that you're not entirely positive Wanderlei is going to show up. Rank Couture, your former longtime Team Quest partner, has voiced a desire to step into the fold if anyone should drop out. So what would your thoughts be on that matchup? I know you're a guy who takes on all challenges, but what are your thoughts if that were to materialize?
I'll tell you straight up, I have never beaten Randy Couture, never in one single go in practice, whether it was MMA or it was wrestling. I have never beaten him, but he will tell you that there has never been a day I wasn't willing to try.
Awesome. And my last question here is just for Scott Coker. I'm noticing a lot of interesting entertainment additions, airing the pay-per-view in select theaters, Brendan Schaub co-hosting the Hype Show and all that. So is this kind of the plan going ahead to sort of expand in this certain direction, like airing in pay-per-views and doing certain things to differentiate your product like that?
Well, we said all along that, we are going to be in the pay-per-view business when it makes sense and the fights are built up to where we feel that we can put a fight card together that's worthy. And, next Saturday is our first launch, or my first launch with the company into it. But also, this product will be aired in 163 countries around the world. I think we just gained another 20 outlets this week. And Viacom Distribution, Lycus Distribution is doing a great deal, doing great deals around the world. So I think more countries than ever in the history of Bellator's, distribution, international distribution, will be able to watch this fight live as it happens, and on VOD around the world.
Awesome. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Next question comes from the line of Tony Fagnano, MMA Today. Your line is live. Mr. Fagnano, your line is live. You may ask your question.
Hi, my first question is for Scott. Scott Coker?
Yeah, go ahead. What's the question?
So there's been some changes to the Spike TV portion of the card. Obviously Ryan Bader and King Mo fell through, but you turned that into a title fight with Phil Davis. And then Kerry Melendez recently fell off the card, and you added Heather Hardy. Do you feel the card overall is a strong sell leading into the pay-per-view portion?
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, we would have put it together. I mean, Phil and Bader have been trying to lock horns, for a couple of years now. And, we're excited to put that fight together. That was a fight that we were going to put on in the future. But when King Mo got hurt, we said, hey, you know what, let's just put our best foot forward and put that fight card on. And don't forget James Gallagher will also be on that card, against Machida. So from top to bottom, we think we have a great night of fights. And, it's going to be, like Chael said earlier, you get two for the price of one. You get to watch Spike 180, Bellator 180 on Spike, and then tune right into the pay-per-view. So we have if you're a combat sports fan, this is the night to be sitting back watching all these great MMA fights on TV.
And then my next question would be for Douglas Lima.
How you doing, man?
Hi, how's it going? Question for you. If you do, obviously Larkin was one of the top ranked, at a different promotion. If you beat him, does that motivate you to want to prove yourself, in your division somewhere else, or do you feel that Bellator now has the talent where you can make the case that you are the best in the world where you're at?
Yeah, definitely. I think in my eyes, I belong in the top of the division. It doesn't matter which organization, but this is just a chance to prove, that I belong there. Beating Larkin, coming off of, 2 great wins, ranked opponents. So it's just a chance for me to prove, where I belong in the division. I'm very excited for this fight. And in my eyes, is the main event, as far as excitement and, skill levels. So, it's just another chance for me to prove where I stand in this division.
Thanks, Douglas. And my next question would be for Chael Sonnen. Chael?
All ears.
I just wanted to say you're an inspiration, for everything that you've endured and to keep doing what you're doing, man. And we know that you have no qualms taking on, legends. Obviously, you fought Anderson Silva twice, and you're about to fight Wanderlei. You took on Tito Ortiz. And we also know that you had volunteered to fight, Fedor as a late replacement. Is that something that you would still consider in the future?
Yeah, definitely. First off, that was nice of you to say. And secondly, of course. That's the one thing about Bellator is you're not completely confined to your weight class. I look at King Mo a lot, and King Mo is just able to go all over and get these big fights. I was at his last fight with Rampage, man. That building was popping. It was a special event. And, if you just strictly went by weight classes, we couldn't have seen that match, let alone and then also seeing a rematch. I love that kind of stuff. And back when I started the sport, we didn't even have weigh-ins. I had my first fight in 1997. I never got on a scale. You call up, you either want to do it or you don't. And I think things are better the way they are now. But I still have that mentality. We just didn't used to have that. So, anybody you can compete with, anybody that, I don't look for the big fights either. I hear that, I want a big fight, and I want a championship fight. And I want all of that stuff too, but I really do believe you got to take on anybody, and if it's a guy that you're given a chance to, or it's a guy that he's given a chance to you, or it's a big fight, or it's a grudge match. If you want to compete, go out and compete. I really think that. So, yeah, as far as the Fedor thing, I went. His opponent has fallen through. I'm licensed. He's licensed. I'm there. He's there. I thought it made sense. So, anybody they've got, man, let's go out and compete, do the best we can, and move on.
All right. Thank you so much for all your time.
Our next question comes from the line of Jack Encarnacchio from the Boston Herald. Your line is live.
Thank you. First question is for Wanderlei. Wanderlei, you've talked about how if they put you next to Chael Sonnen, you might attack him because of how mad he makes you. What about fight weekend? When you get to New York, are you going to try to stay away from him the whole time? What if you guys meet each other before the fight?
Yeah. I'm professional, and I hope I saw him just inside the cage.
You had said earlier when you were asked why you started training in Brazil for this fight that part of it was problems that you were having with us. I imagine you mean in the United States. What were the problems that you went to Brazil to get away from?
Yeah, no, I have some problems because some guys don't treat me very well. I have some problems with because the rules are different here in the U.S. In the U.S. you can talk what you want. Nobody gonna do nothing. But here in Brazil it's different, And some guys, couple guys disrespect me in the street, and I talked to my wife back to Brazil because I don't accept that to nobody.
Okay. What is it about Chael Sonnen that makes you want to attack him when you see him? What is it about him?
He know what he's doing over here. He know what he deserves. He know I'm right and he's wrong. You know, he did a lot of bad things for me here, and now it's time to pay back.
I go to Chael now. Chael, what do you make of why Wanderlei is so aggressive towards you? You were on the set with him. What would you say?
Yeah, he can be right and I can be wrong. He wants to make a case about this. He can have it. I can see it. I don't give a damn anyway. I don't like Wanderlei Silva. Everybody listening to this, everybody who's going to be watching this, has somebody in the office that if they could take him outside and get in a fight with him, they would. Everybody on the job site has somebody there that if they could fight, they would. I happen to be in an industry where we can. I like him and he doesn't like me. I don't see what the difference is. A moment ago, he was giving me a countdown from 10, 9, 8. I imagined he was going to get to 0. He got to 8 and stopped, which was good, which is a little further than I thought that he would get. I don't care anyway. He's making it like he's right and I'm wrong. Be right. I'll be wrong. What's the goddamn difference? Let's just fight on June 24th. How about that?
Chael, on the MMA Hour, Wanderlei had said that in the Tito fight, you looked like a kid. Imagine commenting on how you looked size-wise next to Tito. What of that? What would you say of that and the condition you'll be coming into the fight in?
Yeah, I can tell you as far as size goes, man, I've never got into the scale. They didn't used to have that. The guys I looked up to, the Randy Coutures and the Dan Hendersons of the world, man, those guys were always smaller. I have pushed people Wanderlei's size out of the way looking for somebody to fight.
Anything you would say about the Tito fight in terms of the condition you came in? It was over very quick.
Yeah, Tito sucks. I just sucked even worse. That's what happened. I don't have an excuse for it. Listen, if you beat the champion, you leave there the champion. I lost to the worst guy in the sport. That makes me the worst guy in the sport. That doesn't sit very well. I made some changes. I can't accept that. I don't want to accept that. I can't go back. I can't run it back. There was nothing I can do. Tito and I are now 1-1. That's not a good fit. Nobody loses to Tito Ortiz. The guy's so bad, he quit the sport 1 second after the fight. I understand what happened. I wouldn't try to run that back and act like it didn't. It did. I've made some changes. I'm here to fight. I've had bad days before, and I've turned them into good days. That's the way that it goes. The term fighter became corrupted somewhere over my lifetime. The word fighter used to mean you get up when the chips are down. You push forward when you're hurt and you don't feel like it, when your heart's out there, when you're not feeling good and when it's not easy. That's what a fighter does, and that's what it used to mean. Somewhere over time, that term's become corrupted, and I know people that understand aggression. They know how to attack somebody that doesn't know how to attack back. That's not fighting. I'm a fighter. I get up when I don't feel like it. I don't cry in my beer. The world's a big place, and I don't get stuck in the cracks. And on June 24th at 7 p.m., 10 in the East, and only on pay-per-view, Chael Sonnen Promotions, in conjunction with Bellator MMA, are going to bring you the grudge match of a lifetime. And I will leave you with one final thought. Wanderlei Silva, you attacked me. That happened. If you attack me, I'm going to do some very bad things to you within the rules. If you attack me in front of my wife, there are no rules.
Chael, I know you said that's what you'll leave me with. Can you tell us what those changes are, though, that you made? Hello?
Hello? To me? You can repeat?
I think you closed the laptop there. Okay. Scott, quick question for you. You have Phil and Ryan Bader in the title fight to close out the prelims. Are you concerned if that goes 25 minutes that you're going to bleed into the pay-per-view time with 4 fights on the fight?
No, not at all. I think we have a good grip on it, and I mean we're ready for that fight to go the distance if it does, or if it doesn't, we have a contingency plan, so we're ready to go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Question comes from the line of Ty O'Keefe from Fight Network. Your line is live.
Hi, guys. First of all, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us today. My first question is for Scott Coker. Obviously this is going to be the biggest card in the history of the entire promotion. You guys have put everything behind this. Is there any concern at all that there's going to be some sort of a letdown post June 24th when you're loaded this card up with so many big-name fighters that are in your promotion? Or is there any concern that what are you going to do after June 24th to keep the fight fans intrigued?
I mean, that's a great question. I think that, we do have fights in July and August, our monthly series. And those would be great fight cards, and those would be, to continue building the young talent or giving guys that are looking to get the next title shots. But we go into our September and our November and fall schedule. We have, we just have another set of great fights matched up and ready to go. And the 10 poles, and you guys know the 10 poles, we try to stack them as big as we can. And that will continue. But when we do the pay-per-views, we're going to go way over the top, like we did for this fight card. And I think you'll see that when we put that together, whether it's 2 or 3 times a year, when the fights call for it. And again, we're not going to go monthly. We're not going to be that the company that just puts fights together to put events on a pay-per-view. We're going to be selective. We're going to put on fights that are more like the boxing model. When they're big enough and people want them, we're going to put them on.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks. My next question is for is Chael Sonnen still on the line? Okay.
Sorry, Chael actually dropped off the call.
No problem. I guess he had to keep his word. It's no problem. My last question is just quick for Wanderlei Silva. Have you done anything, specifically in your training to combat this long layoff that you're facing? Have you added something to your training and to kind of give you an edge to go against the time off, the time that you've missed?
No, I make it a complete training. I train everything like what I do before, and I'm feel really, really good. Like a man. For me, I will restart my career again. And I'm so glad to Coker give me the opportunity to fight in the biggest card in all history on this industry, because this event on 24 is going to be the biggest event ever. And I will going to give the best show for my fans.
All right, well, thanks a lot for your time, guys, and good luck.
Thank you.
Next question comes from the line of Edward Carvajal from Front Proof Media. Your line is live.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Question for Lorenz Larkin. I just wanted to get if you could comment on how you're feeling this far out before the event. At the initial press conference, you were really excited. You were taking pictures of the belt. So I just if you'd comment on how you feel about fighting for the title in a new promotion in an arena like Madison Square Garden. Hello?
Hey, we're trying to get Lorenz back right now.
Oh.
Sorry, seems he dropped the call. Do you have a question for Douglas Lima?
Yeah, actually, I was actually wondering how Douglas felt fighting. Usually, guys coming from another promotion. What was your initial reaction as far as hearing the announcement of fighting someone at the caliber Larkin is, and how are you feeling this far out before the fight, defending your title against someone like Larkin?
I love it, man. I love, that Scott is bringing all these guys, over, and, I welcome him with pleasure. As soon as he signed, I was excited. I was very excited, and that's the fight that I wanted, a ranked, guy coming off 2 good wins, and I'm just loving it, man. I'm feeling really good right now, we're 10 days out from the fight. The weight's good. The camp has been fantastic. I'm feeling healthier than ever, so, man, no excuse. I'm just ready to perform right now. I'm ready to throw down, and I can't wait for the 24th,
Can anybody hear me? Cool. Thanks.
Hey, Lorenz is back in the room. If you'd like to repeat your question for him.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Lorenz, I was just asking if how your confidence is right now, this far out before the fight, and how do you feel about fighting for a title in a new promotion and in an arena like Madison Square Garden?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, man. I feel great, man. There's nothing really looking back at this camp and being like, that didn't go well. Me, everything is just kind of like a complete 180, how things were going and how things were to where it's at now, and so great, man. There's nothing I'm looking back on that I'm like, everything is great. I can't ask for a better camp. I can't ask for a better opponent. I can't ask for a better venue. I can't ask for a better promotion. You know what I mean? Right now I'm on cloud 9.
That was good. Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Susan Singari, MustLoveMMA.com. Your line is live.
Thank you for taking my call today, and good luck on the fight. Let me state that ahead of time for everybody on the call. My first question is for Scott. Scott, last time we spoke, you told me you were open to having Chuck Liddell on your team, so to speak. Do you have any updates on when and if Bellator MMA will sign him?
Yeah, we're talking to Chuck, but mostly about a brand ambassador type of relationship.
Okay.
And that's an ongoing conversation, and we'll probably pick it up after New York. So I have nothing to report right now, but hopefully in the future we'll have something fun to announce.
And then I just have one other quick question for you, Scott, if you don't mind. The signing of Roy Nelson, great for Bellator and MMA. Really excited, and other fans are as well. Any updates on when he will fight, and if so, who he will face?
Yeah, Roy likes to fight right away, so we're going to be looking to fight him in early fall is what we're looking at. And the opponent we haven't identified yet, but that might be something that we will announce at the post-fight press conference Saturday.
And then I just have a question for Wanderlei, if I may, please. Hola, Wanderlei.
Hello.
The rivalry between you and Chael goes back a long, long way. We've heard you folks talk about it today on the press call, and it's all over the media. Do you respect him as a fighter, and do you think after you fight him, could you two be friends?
True. I don't know, but we have some people we like, we have some people we don't like. And here, a kind of guy I don't have to have a relation. No, that's the kind of guy can invite to come to my house.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Boa sorte.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Alexander Lee from The Score. Your line is live.
Hey guys, just a couple of questions. First one is for Lorenz. I want to ask, you came from the UFC, and it's pretty, the welterweight title picture there is pretty complicated with guys like trying to get super fights and move up in weight and stuff like that. Was part of the reason of wanting to leave there that you saw a clear path? Obviously maybe not knowing you'd get a title shot right away, but that you had a clearer path to be fighting, for a promotional belt?
No, not at all. And this is the thing is, once when, I made this deal with Bellator, there was no talks of a title shot. We weren't even talking about an opponent yet. You know what I mean? The whole basis of that was just getting the deal done. So I had no idea that, I was going to be fighting for a belt. I guess it's in every fighter's intention, down the line, but, that was nothing that was brought to me, like an enticement or something like that. We weren't even talking about opponent yet, or maybe even when I would even think about be fighting, so no, that has nothing to do with it. When it really boils down to is, my big thing is a respect factor and somebody knowing my value, and that wasn't happening in the last promotion I was with, so.
Okay, right. So I guess the rest of it just fell into place. Okay, thanks, Lorenz. And I have a question for Wanderlei Silva as well. Wanderlei, I know you said this is like a fresh start, but if you have a huge win over Chael, is there any thought that you would retire and go out on like a big moment, go out on a high note?
No. I have a good victory. I want to fight against Rampage. I want to fight against Quinton Jackson.
Okay, great. That answers my question. Okay, thanks, guys. Everyone stay healthy and have a great time at Vancouver.
Thank you.
The next question comes from the line of Steven Morocco, MMA Junkie. Your line is live.
Hey, Scott, I just wanted to clarify something real quick that I'm not sure was covered. Seeing it on my Twitter feed, and I wanted to clarify, both Morrow and Mike are play-by-play guys, so who's doing what role? And is Jimmy in the broadcast booth? Is it like a three-man team, a two-man team? Can we get some specifics?
Yeah, I could just give you some rough. I don't have all the details because this, like I said, just went down, in the last couple of weeks, and but I do know that for this fight coming up next Saturday at the Garden, everybody will be there. All the play-by-play and color guys, and Jen Brown and Brendan Schaub and Josh Thompson. Everybody will be there, and I think that Scott Fishman, our senior executive producer of production, he's making some calls on who's going to do what, but it hasn't trickled down to me yet, so I'll let you know. But after this fight, because this was a fight that was our biggest one in history, so we want everybody there. And then from there on, we'll probably be rotating them, based on everybody's availability.
I see. So to be determined for the actual team on pay-per-view.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you.
The next question comes from the line of Jack Encarnacio from the Boston Herald. Your line is live.
Thank you very much. Just one more for Scott on the same topic of its commentary. Scott, do you think that there's a chance that people flipping through, say, Spike on that night, will hear Goldberg on the call and think it's a UFC show? And if so, do you care about that?
I'll tell you, we worked a deal out with Gold because we felt that he was an amazing talent. And he has been the voice of MMA for a long time. But how he and Jimmy and how he and Morrow and Jen Brown and Brendan Schaub, how they all interact, it's going to have a different fan experience than what you're used to. But we're very happy to have him on board. We're proud of our announcing team. I think it's the best announcing team in MMA right now.
Do you expect to have the same team on the pay-per-view that you will on Spike, or will there be different people in different positions for those different broadcasts?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that right now. That's something that we're still working out, but we should have something shortly. And again, and the reason why we don't is that this literally was signed, days ago, and it all just kind of worked out organically. And I think that everybody wants to to be on the card, but we're gonna figure that out, and that's really a Spike TV production call, and I'll have that information shortly.
The next question comes from the line of Eddie Goldman from No Holds Barred. Your line is live.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Since today is International Axe Throwing Day, our first question is for the axe murderer, Wanderlei. Wanderlei, I want to ask you about what we can expect in this fight, because we know your opponent, Chael Sonnen, mainly comes with a wrestling background. He even mentioned wrestling a couple of times in his comments. How are you going to be prepared for that, since, we know also you have a grappling background, but you're known more as a stand-up fighter, as a striker?
He's so brave. I know what he can do, but he don't know what I can do. I'm new. I have a lot of new things. I have a lot of new weapons. And my fans can expect a really good show because I'm ready to fight.
How have you planned to adjust your fighting style, both because of the layoff that you've had, and also you're older now? It's harder to do the same things you did 20 years ago when you're fighting in IVC in Brazil. Have you adjusted your fighting style?
Yeah. I have some adjustments. I train more safely because I don't want to be hurt for the fight. I'm 100%, and I train more. I lift more weight to make my body more stronger, to hit hard. and Chael gonna feel what I have for him.
Okay, and how have you worked on your timing in the training? Because, as you know, it's one thing to the timing that you have in a fight, and another thing that you get in sparring in the gym. How have you worked on that to create the conditions of a fight since you've been out of action for a couple of years?
I train with a lot of young guys, young fighters, and strong fighters. A lot younger than me, and put me in a lot of difficult situations. And I am ready for everything. I know what he can do. He wants to give it the same double leg, And in that moment, I will gonna catch him.
And do you want to make a prediction for the fight?
I will gonna knock out him in the first round.
Okay, thank you. And can I ask Scott, I have a question about New York. This obviously is a great thing, running Madison Square Garden, which is such, considered the world's most famous arena. Do you have future plans, how often you plan to run in New York City, either at the Garden or at other locations?
Yeah, you know what? Right now, this is the only event this year in New York City, but we plan to come there maybe the first quarter of 2018. Right now, it's not done yet.
And we're moving on to our final question from Steve Jones from MMA Mania.
Thank you, operator. And I wanted to ask Coker a follow-up question. So, Scott, if you could, we understood that Mauro Ranallo was still under contract with another organization until at least August. So, was there some sort of buyout of his contract to free him up for commentary for Bellator?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but this is the first I've heard of that. So, you talking about Mauro Ranallo? No, I did not. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, we were led to understand that he had a no-compete clause in WWE that didn't expire until at least August.
Yeah, so I'm not sure of any contract they had with anybody, but I can assure you this was done properly, and it was all done in a proper manner.
Okay. And one final question before we wrap up. I want to ask Lorenz Larkin, with so many people that are concentrating on Sonnen versus Silva, are you feeling a little overshadowed right now? Does that give you even more motivation going into the fight with Lima?
Not at all, man. Not at all. I almost like it better because at the end of the day, everybody's going to see what happened, and they're going to see just the pure craziness of this fight, and it doesn't have to be all out there like that, and everybody will see, come night of the fight, which fight on the card really stood out. So, I'm just patiently waiting.
All right, very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, everybody. And before we wrap this call, just another quick announcement. This Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we have another conference call with Matt Mitrio and Fedor Emelianenko, as well as lightweight world champion Michael Chandler, challenger Brent Primus, and Bellator 180 headliners, light heavyweight world champ Phil Davis, and challenger Ryan Bader. So again, that will take place this Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, and just keep a lookout for your emails for some dial-in information. Appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
This concludes today's teleconference. You may now disconnect your lines.
Acabou.